Welcome to my happy place. Silence, sparsity, and sisu. This is Finland. My journey today will start here at London Heathrow, where I will take a roughly 3-hour flight to Helsinki-Vantaa Airport, a place that now symbolises to me joy and adventure. Before I knew it, my flight was boarding and Helsinki was becoming even closer to my grasp. For quite some time now, I've been interested in why the Finnish are so happy, and whilst I'm not a resident of the country, I've visited quite a few times this year and have also researched quite a bit about Finnish culture and thought that I would summarise my findings in this rather rapid-fire video. Let's go.
So good to be back here in Finland. Like, as soon as I hear someone speak Finnish, I'm instantly just so, I don't know, relaxed, I suppose. I don't know. It's just a really comforting place for me. I have always loved Finland. This year I've been quite a few times too, and I'm really lucky to say. And I absolutely love it here. It's just it's so relaxed and so, I don't know, just it all feels like the world is kind of better. Do you know what I mean? Which is a really weird thing to say. But I love it here so much. And I'm very excited to be here again. So, yeah.
So, you may be thinking to yourself, how on earth is this video linked to science? And that is a great question. And the link is quite tenuous, but as you probably know, Finland has been the happiest country for years and years on end. And I wanted to kind of look at why that may be the case. I think there'll be quite a lot of psychological links. So I wanted to explore some of the reasons that I think Finland is the happiest country, and from what I've read. And I really want to try and see, if it is as happy as people make it out to be. So, come with me on my journey. We just passed a place called Kemi, and yeah, it's incredibly beautiful outside, as you can see. So yeah, we should be in Rovaniemi in about an hour and 15 minutes, so that's good.
First, let's address the elephant in the room. Sauna culture. Sauna is so quintessentially Finnish that the word sauna is the only word in the English dictionary that is derived from the Finnish language. There are so many Finnish sauna facts that I could rattle off for you, but I'll limit them. My favourite fact is that there are more saunas in Finland than there are households, making the sauna to person ratio an incredible 1 to 1.5, with almost every home in Finland having a sauna as a standard with the property. So, what are the benefits of using the sauna? There is strong evidence to suggest that using sauna regularly is incredibly effective at controlling blood pressure and reducing risk of heart disease. Additionally, there are some limited links to suggest that using the sauna can reduce the risk of cognitive diseases like dementia. In Finland, around 33% of deaths are caused by cardiovascular disease compared to the European average of over 42.5%. And given that about 60% of Finns use the sauna at least once per week, this is strong evidence that the sauna culture has done some good in terms of physical health. Moving on to a mental benefit of saunas, it is a known fact that the traditional clothing option for the sauna is, wearing nothing and going completely nude, at least in certain settings. Finnish people are generally seen to have greater body confidence than other nationalities, and this is likely due to the exposure and embracing of a greater variety of body types whilst using the sauna, which, as we already have established, is extremely common. being body confident is so important to overall mental health and happiness, and I would say that with this and everything else that I've just said, it is unsurprising that Finnish people are so content. Now, I think that my next finding is arguably of greater importance than sauna culture, and this is what I will describe broadly as the Finnish mindset. So, what is the Finnish mindset? Well, let's start with an extremely popular concept called sisu, a term that you may have come across on a mug from Etsy or because of the popular film franchise of the same name. So, what even is sisu? Well, this is hard for me to describe as it has no true equivalent in English. However, it can probably best be described as this resilience and relentless grit in the face of adversity. Adversity that runs quite deep throughout Finnish history, particularly during the colonisation by both Swedish and Russians, that required extreme amounts of perseverance to overcome and allow the Finnish language and culture to continually thrive, even when the governments of the colonisers campaigned for different agendas. Sisu also umbrellas the so-called Finnish smile, a great example of Finnish stoicism that allows for introversion and almost complete honesty in the display of emotion that develop from the aforementioned challenges. It is no secret that Finnish people tend to prefer keeping to themselves rather than being performative, although I must say that the majority of Finnish people I have met have been friendly enough and far from rude, unlike how I have often seen them be described by some people. I mean, look at Alexander Stubb, the Finnish president at the time of filming. He is probably the smiliest person, let alone Finn, that I have ever seen in my life. Anyway, I can somewhat understand why the Finnish people may not be the most smiley. I mean, you've seen the harsh weather conditions that Finnish people are subjected to throughout winter, and I know that a lot of people, like British people, would not cope with such conditions, and we complain non-stop anyway. So I can only imagine what we would be like if we were based in an environment like that in Finland. Sisu, to me, seems to have stemmed from a need to survive, but has developed into this feeling of contentment that Finnish people talk about that makes them the happiest in the world. Now I'm very keen to talk about the close proximity of most Finnish people to nature. Finland's capital, Helsinki, has been ranked as the world's most sustainable tourist city for 2 years in a row, likely due to strong cultural focuses and dedication to recycling, as well as strong governmental policies in favour of conserving the environment, including but not limited to being the first country in the world to sign pledges aiming for carbon negativity and to tax the use of carbon in fossil fuels. I'm told that Finnish people are very strict about recycling and are more than willing to call out errors in separation, a dedication that I know for a fact most British people do not have. Some UK councils have recently been shown to mix separated waste together. Cardiff, I am looking at you. Sorry, that was a bit shady. Moving on, let's talk about population density. Finland is the third most sparsely populated European country behind its fellow Nordics, Norway and Iceland, with a population density of about 19 inhabitants per square kilometre. Something unique about Finland are the laws that allow for free roaming of the sparse land, which allows for greater immersion into nature, which encourages Finnish people to spend a large amount of time outdoors, with 96% of adults doing such recreational activities. In terms of biodiversity, 75% of Finland is covered by trees, and replantation is heavily encouraged, showing care for nature and its conservation. Finland is also known as the land of 1,000 lakes and is renowned globally for its lush scenery. An environment like this is bound to improve mental health and overall happiness. I want to link this to the relative freedom that Finnish people have, and I will do so using an article I read just before the trip that was, well, a little bit mad, honestly. But it's the sort of craziness that I expect from the Finns and that they always deliver on. I mean, just look at their Eurovision entries. So I thought I would give this a go. Now, this seemed to contradict any medical advice I have ever received, but here I was, removing my warm, insulating winter boots to go running in my socks. Yes, that's right, I'm going running in the freezing cold weather in this thick layer of snow in just 3 pairs of socks. This liberation, the ability to be one with nature, is a real privilege, and I think that this is one of the many, many reasons why the Finns are so incredibly happy. Today I'm going to a supermarket to look at another reason why Finnish people might be so happy. And during a time where we are facing a cost of living crisis, this reason reigns especially true. So this is a real world example, but let's look at some statistics. For the average American household, the monthly cost of groceries is roughly $504, whilst in Finland this figure is about €300 or about $350. This is just one example, but in most other metrics, similar trends can be seen. In a world that is undoubtedly expensive, having a lower cost of living can greatly help with feeling fulfilled and with life quality. Now, here I need to mention that Finland has a much higher tax rate and, in fact, has the highest tax rates in the world, with the average paying about 30%, which is significantly higher than the European and US counterparts. Most British people who I have mentioned this to in conversation have seen this as a negative thing, but this is because we in the UK have much lower satisfaction with public services, as well as less trust in our politicians than the Finnish. In fact, tax avoidance is frowned upon significantly less, by about 20% less in the UK than in Finland, which largely goes to show how different attitudes are. The point, once again, comes down to a greater satisfaction with the way things are in Finland, or possibly a greater acceptance of how things are, which once again contributes to the World Happiness Index, as this takes into consideration perception of quality of public services. Finally, here are some intangible things that I believe may contribute to Finnish happiness. Finns are ranked as being some of the freest people in the world in terms of political expression, and they are also highly engaged in expressing their views, with an average of 70.52% of registered people turning up to vote in parliamentary elections. In 2025, Finland ranked 5th in press freedom, and students in Finnish schools are also known for studying highly sophisticated programs in spotting AI content and deepfakes, as well as disinformation, reporting biases, and much, much more. And this is so deeply ingrained into Finnish students, with these skills being introduced to students as young as 3, making the system extremely effective. In fact, the Finns are ranked first globally, and have been since 2017 in the European Media Literacy Index, showing that these efforts have proven successful. The education system in Finland is also known for being very positive in encouraging balance, with a greater emphasis on mental health and well-being and more holistic pupil assessments than in other countries. This successful system always lands Finland in the top 10 globally. So there we have it. I hope this short insight into Finnish culture and lifestyle has given you insight into why the Finnish may be so happy. Kiitos, että katsot. Hei hei.